Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I'm gonna tell you this. Last week, a couple weeks ago, we had some stuff kind of going down with certain Black public figures, namely Umar Johnson, where there's some controversy. A lot of it started with Maria Lloyd doing a video on my channel, and then suddenly things rolled downhill from there. And I want to recap some of this because some of what I saw really kind of bothered me in terms of the way people reacted to women, the way people will react to women differently from men. And so to talk about this, I wanted to bring in my homegirl, my partner in crime, Miss Yvette Carnell from BreakingBrown.com. How you doing today, Yvette?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing really good, really good. You're really good. So the dust has settled, and and I'm not going back into Umar Johnson per se in terms of anything about him as a person, but I want to talk about the what I noticed is kind of the externality of everything that went down, which was just kind of the way some of the men reacted to you and Maria and some of the women that come up on the channel. I'm going to tell you this. I'll be honest with you, and I'd like to get your thought on this. I thought some of the comments were problematic in that not that they disagree with you, but that many of the comments were very personal. Comments about your appearance. You old weave wearing blankety blank. You old chubby blah blah. And I don't really get many comments like that. I've had a couple, but nothing like that. And it really made me think about the sexism that women go through. It made me even more sensitive to this, and actually more determined to make sure that your voices are here and unfiltered, because I think it's kind of crazy. What was it like, kind of as a woman, to kind of come into the channel, and or what's it been like, especially when you say things that a lot of men may not agree with?
Well, the funniest thing is it's not all men. It is almost certainly like a certain kind of man, right? It is this it's this Pan Africanist like sympathizer of Farrakhan and Umar Johnson, and I sympathize with what Maria went through because I went through something similar with the Farrakhan criticism. It's not even that they're so upset with the criticism because you always have that crab in a barrel, you know, idiom that black people should really do away with, because the problem isn't crabs in a barrel. The problem is really black people go along with whatever the next black person does because they're black and we have this sense of collectivity. But the problem is the way in which they do it. The problem is how quickly they go from 0 to 100, right? So like if you criticize somebody, it's like, well, boys, I don't necessarily agree with you. I think Umar's doing good stuff, blah 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 blah. Or same thing with Farrakhan. I don't agree with you, boys. I don't think you should let Yvette on your channel or whatever. But when it comes to me, it's like, you long head, yellow, nothing ass bitch. I mean, it's the criticism is so intensely personal. It's to the point, and I think I told you this. I said, listen, if you had put together an event and said, Yvette, I want you to come to this event and I want you to debate people who like Farrakhan's leadership, Farrakhan followers, I would have said no. And it's because the people who are really into this, the men who are, hardcore, hardcore sympathizers, hardcore, love these guys. They really think they're doing the best work for them. They don't want to see them criticized. And I don't feel comfortable like being in the same room with them. I don't feel comfortable being in a space with them. I feel like I would be physically threatened. And like I said, this is not all men. This is not even most men, but there's a core. There's like this core of people that like these dudes that go from 0 to 100 and snap out like that, especially if you're a woman, because the idea is it's not just that you can't criticize these people. The idea is, who is a woman to talk about this man this way? And so I think Maria was the person who got the most of that. She got it with the Umar Johnson criticism. I got it with the Farrakhan criticism. And it's just really unfortunate the way they try to butt heads instead of like taking us on intellectually and like going at our ideas and trying to prove why we're wrong, which is a good thing. I don't have a problem with being wrong if I'm wrong. But it's just really sad when I see it go like that.
Well, you and I made it always very, very clear that we don't see eye to eye on some things. We didn't see eye to eye on Farrakhan, and that's okay. I told the minister himself. I said, I respect you, and I love Yvette Carnell, and I'm not gonna ever. Um, I'm not ever gonna even try to mute her voice as if I could. I don't even think I could, but I wouldn't even try. And and I was a big supporter of Umar Johnson up until he did some things that just didn't make any sense to me. Not just toward me, but just toward women and people in general. And I'll say one of the things that I picked up on that that really, and I'd love to get your elaboration on this. But I remember when Maria first made her video, and I didn't even see it. I didn't see it for days after she made it. I just heard that she did the video about Umar, and I said, okay, well, Maria has an opinion. All right, go for it. I just tell people, say what you want. Just be ready for whatever the backlash is. Be ready for people to disagree. And so I started first. I saw where Umar was very upset, and he was implying that I'd put this woman up to go after him, that I somehow propped her up like a puppet, which almost seems to signify that I control her, or that a man would control women. And I don't really know if she had been a man, if people would have made the same implication, the same insinuation that I somehow controlled what they were saying. Do you think that there was kind of some gender bias in terms of just how people interpreted the fact that she was a woman saying these things as opposed to a man?
Well, I think there's definitely some bias there. I mean, I see the men on the Your Black World Network, and I don't see them have the criticism that oh, Boyce must have put him up to this, or Boyce must have said this. The assumption is like this is the man is his own man. Even if I think the dude's even if I think everything he says is wrong or whatever, hey, he's his own man. He got an opinion. He has a right to that opinion. The assumption, a lot of times, especially in Maria's case, is like, oh, she must have been put up to this. This must be some side stuff that Boyce is trying to do, to take Umar down, by the fact that she's up here saying this. And then you had the other people who were like, well, she shouldn't even have access to the network. And then, I mean, which is also silly because this is Your Black World. This isn't, this has never been like you've never had this be Dr. Boyce Watkins' channel. This has always been the Your Black World Network. The people that I work with all have points of views. I don't necessarily agree with them, but it's my editorial policy to let people speak their minds. And then you can also speak your mind. Like when I had the Farrakhan, when I aired my criticism of Farrakhan, you let someone from the Nation of Islam come and tell their side. So it wasn't biased. We were both presenting our sides, and there was this huge conversation about it, which I think was actually good for the black community. I mean, to have that conversation because I don't believe in sacred cows. I don't believe that there's anybody in the black community that's beyond criticism, and that includes me. So, you know,
And I'm gonna interrupt you on that real quick and tell you that Farrakhan agreed with that entirely. When I met with the minister and I brought it up, there was not one syllable I heard where he felt that you shouldn't be able to speak. In fact, he went to the other extreme of encouraging me to encourage you to keep speaking because he says that he learns from his critics. And that was very different from what we saw with Umar in terms of kind of just going ballistic, if anybody even asked a question. But please continue.
no, I think you're exactly right, and I think you have to be very careful. I think Farrakhan was careful because the thing is, your words have power if you are a leader, right? So if Farrakhan comes out and says Yvette's a traitor, I mean, we kind of I don't want to get into it. We
Or
kind
a
of saw
maggot.
what he called Malcolm X a traitor.
Right.
These things have consequences. So you have to be very careful. And so the meme that even Umar came out with later with you didn't help the situation. It just kind of exacerbated the situation. But I have definitely seen that in terms of the way men react to criticism, especially when that criticism is a woman. And you'll even see it on Facebook. Like if you look on Facebook and people are debating, or if you go on the YouTube comments and people are debating, you even see women kind of a lot of times defer to men and they'll have an opinion, but after a man takes a strong stance, they'll kind of back off and be like, well, maybe I didn't think about it that way, but I just kind of feel, it's they just kind of simmer down. And I think for some men, for this cadre of men who are ardent, followers of men of black men in leadership and who don't want to hear any criticism, I think to hear a woman kind of full throatedly say, "This is how I feel," and I'm not backing away from it. And if you don't like it, that's fine, but I'm not going to back away from it because you feel I should go somewhere and sit down. I think that they kind of that sort of pushback kind of puts them in a certain space and kind of puts them in a certain headspace that makes them lash out. And I really think that's a problem because it sort of inhibits discourse because a lot of women don't want to endure that. I mean, a lot of women don't want to go through that. I have to go through all this to have a conversation. I have to deal with this. I have to deal with. I can tell you during the Farrakhan thing how many nasty little inboxes I got. You know what I mean? Which were some of them I was like, bordered on threats as far as I was concerned. So, a lot of women don't want to do that, and that kind of inhibits us. So you have a lot of really bright women who will just write in publications that whether they're scholars or whatever, where black men will never ever, a lot of black men will never see that stuff because I don't want to go out somewhere and go out on a limb and run up on you in the grocery store and you giving me some kind of look and I don't want to be bothered with all that. So
Mm,
I do think it's unfortunate that people feel like, because I disagree with you, I should call you out of your name, or I should say something like that to you. And unfortunately, especially on Twitter and especially on YouTube, these people have anonymity. So they can say whatever they want to say. And you can't you I mean, you don't know who it is. You have no idea, but you know that you're being berated over having an opinion.
mm. Well, I will say that when I think about this year and I think about what I learned in terms of, I mean, I was really stunned, just by some of the comments I saw. Um, I've always known sexism was real. I have girls and things like that, but I mean, it blew my mind. I mean, when I would just see people, literally, for example, you would see somebody like yourself or Maria or Cynthia G, who also comments on our channel a lot, say something that where they just they don't agree with men, and even if they're very polite, you'll see men come back and they won't actually counter the argument with logic and information. They will just literally come back and say, "I'm not even gonna listen to you, you weave wearing bitch," or something like that. And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, so first you're commenting on her appearance, which has nothing to do with what she just said. Nothing. So you're admitting you have nothing other than to somehow berate her for with the way she looks. And then two, by saying I'm not even going to listen to you, you're saying that she doesn't deserve to have an opinion, that she doesn't even matter. And I just think that I think it's horrible. I think it's absolutely horrible. I think it's bad for the black community. I think that men, I encourage men, any men who believe in fairness, if you see this kind of behavior, you have to speak up on this. Just say, I mean, you don't have to be mean. Just say, hey, brother, look, let's focus on the issue, debate the issue. And I think that will help hopefully, because I don't think we should have women having to fight all these battles by themselves, because I know I mean, I can't imagine what it must be like to have all these men kind of coming at you. And here's the other thing too, when I heard about Maria's video, I saw the reaction. I said, "Whoa, what did she say? I need to go watch this video because Maria's a strong woman like yourself." So I'm thinking, okay, maybe she got really mad and said something nasty. Did she tell a lie? Did she insult him or whatever? And she didn't. She just said she said, "We would like to know where the money is. Like, explain, give a business plan, a blueprint, or some kind of you collected $500,000. I gave some money. I'd like to know where my money went." And that's just like any business. If you have customers in a business and they give you their money, they email you and say, "Where's my product? I gave you money. Where's my product?" And when you go crazy and you just say, "Oh, well, you must have been put up by the enemy to attack me." You know what? If somebody's attacking you by asking a damn question, that means that you are scared to death that the answer is going to be revealed. Because if a question is harmless, then you will simply answer it. But when I respond to your question by attacking you, I'm telling people everything they need to know about the fact that I'm vulnerable in some key area. I've made some horrible mistake, or that maybe I've done something unethical. So I'm not gonna say much else. I'll let you get the last word on this.
I mean, I really think that whole thing was really very unfortunate. And I say that not as someone, I mean, if people had noticed, I've been very, very quiet on the whole Umar Johnson front. I haven't criticized him, anything I published. I've been very, very quiet. It doesn't mean I haven't had my own criticism. It just means that I was kind of hoping that the criticism that Umar Johnson had been receiving um, would result in him growing a little bit, because this is a big limelight. He kind of catapulted, kind of quick. So I had been in a position where, even though I don't like it, I've been kind of like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, give him a shot, you know. Um and so the whole thing was very unfortunate for me, because considering that you had been a person, even you and I disagreed on Umar, but you've always been a person who has supported him. So I didn't understand, his reaction to the question. Like, I mean, you could honestly, you could put out something that says, if somebody says, "Where's the money?" You could put out something that says, "Here's a timeline." Here's a timeline when I'm gonna have it. I've been busy, I've been giving speeches, but I'm gonna have this for you by this date. Period. Walk away. What else can you say? The man says he's gonna have it. He's gonna have it. What else can you say? You can't say anything else. You can't say, "I wanted it last week." He told you what he's gonna do, and the only thing you can do is wait for him to do what he's gotta do. But that's not what happened. What happened was like this little, I mean, it was like this circus. It was like this Peanuts gallery thing. I mean, there was a meme and all this stuff, and people going at Maria, and you weed wear chick, and who do you think you are, and blah 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 blah. And, I mean, I mean, I've seen it before. Like I said, I've seen it in terms of me. I mean, I can't tell you how many times when I first started criticizing Barack Obama, people were like, "Who are you to criticize Barack Obama? He's darker than you. Who the fuck are you?" You know what I mean? It's just like, so we were in this pigment competition now. You know what I mean? Like Yvette's really fair skinned like white people. How in the world can she come in here and talk about, what does that have to do with policies though? What is, either I'm wrong or I'm right? And that's why I like having conversations on my Facebook page, because I can block you. You know what I mean? I can delete you, and I tell people quickly. I said, listen, either offer a counterpoint, either offer a counter argument, or leave. That's the only thing that I value here. If you offer a counterpoint, that's fine. If you offer a counter argument, that's fine. If you make an observation, that's fine. But if you're just here throwing stones, dude, there are 10,000 other places on the web for you to do that. This is just not one of them. So, that's why I like my website, and that's why I like breakingbrown.com, and that's why I like, my Facebook, because I control the conversation. I don't really like going in other spaces and having conversations because, people can hijack the conversation, call you names, you know what I mean? Tell flat out lies. I remember doing the whole Obama thing. It got real hot. You remember it got real hot during the Obama criticism. I remember somebody made up a lie and said Yvette has a white South African mama. Who, and I was just like, dude, like my mother's from Georgia and she's black. And but I was just like, how did I get here? And then that picks up traction, right? It's just like
Hmm.
people just lie. So I mean, I think it is a problem. I don't think it's something that should happen. I think everybody, men, women, everybody should debate the argument. Debate the argument. If you can't debate the argument, walk away. Go to ESPN. If you're a woman, go read Cosmopolitan. Do something else, because this isn't for you.
Well, I agree with you 100%. And that's what I encourage people to do. Try your best to be respectful, but don't be afraid to be honest. And if people consider your honesty to be disrespect, then that means that they're probably not a thoughtful person. So think it through. Let's kill the sexism in these conversations. Women deserve to have a voice, and I will say this, and I will say this once: my policy on my channel is that we have women that contribute and men, and they say what they want. I go out of my way to make sure I don't censor what they say, unless there's a very good reason. But I can't think of any reason right now because I've never done that. So that's it. That's it. So if you hear somebody come out and say something that's different from what I would say, and you want to know what I think, ask me directly, and I'll tell you what I think. Thank you very much, Yvette. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, everybody. This is Yvette Carnell from BreakingBrown.com. Please go check her site out. It's a great site. She's got millions of views because her site is unlike anything else you will find anywhere on the internet. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.